Hello, and welcome to another edition of Midwest TRMBS, outdoors, indoors. Dickhead Biden or whatever, letting Russia just do whatever they want in Europe, and maybe we're gonna go to war. Maybe there'll be nuclear fallout. You're gonna get drafted, and you want to avoid that. So here today, I'm gonna teach you how to pack a bug out bag. All right. So I figured we'd start with some of the essentials that you might need to survive in the wilderness that is the wilderness. Because preparation and survival starts right here at home. First thing you're going to want to do is secure yourself a source of water. It's going to be a little tricky to keep yourself hydrated, keep yourself fed. For the first little bit, until you get yourself set up. Maybe it's not safe for a fire. So you're going to want to always secure a source of water. Okay, so that's why water and getting some all set up and ready to go now is a good idea. However, I would recommend something that doesn't mold up or anything like that. Because if you get mold in your water, you're going to get sick. And the last thing you need out in the wilderness is to be sick. I'm actually going to put this aside because I got a better solution here that fits a little bit under the bug out bag a little better, a little bit more uniform, takes up less space in the bag. I got this water. What am I going to do for water later? And that's why you're always going to want to have to bring a good old bucket. Okay, now buckets are very useful in the wilderness for lots of different things. Maybe it makes a nice seat, and otherwise it can make a really good water filter. And when we actually get a chance to get outdoors, I'll show you a little bit more of that in the future. You might be saying, oh, but we were form factor before, why are we not form factor now? And to that I say, well, just think with your head a little bit. Jesus Christ. You're never going to survive out here. It doesn't matter if I teach you how to have a bag. What are we going to do for food? And now I would recommend bringing something that's easy to bring with you, that won't perish. And make sure that you always have a knife. This might be seeming like my Alone interview, and that's because there's a lot of parallels between Alone and surviving and packing a bug out bag. They've got 10 items to keep them alive, and I think that's real important. Make sure you bring yourself a knife, something that can kind of do it all. And make sure it has a can opener. Because if you're out there in the wilderness and you bring some of them non-perishables, you're always going to want to find something that can open some of them up for you. So we're just going to go ahead. We're going to put that in the bag. For more longer-term solutions for food, maybe you killed a big buck, and you're going to need to find a way to cook it over the fire. Now you can just roast it on an open fire, kind of like chestnuts and Christmas and whatnot. But I find that a little pots and pans assortment is always a good idea to be able to utilize some of that fire that you're going to be building later on. Get some pots and pans. But maybe you're thinking, but Trumps, I'm not an outdoors badass. How am I going to survive with just the things that I have in my home? And that I'm going to help you out with that. So even if you just got a regular pot and a crazy Chinese pan, you should be able to use these as well. So obviously, I'm not going to pack these because I do have the proper equipment. And the good thing about the bug out bags, make sure to keep it, nice and it's not going to be crazy light, but keep it decently light and not too big and bulky, so you can actually fit it all in one bag. So you're going to want to bring a compass. If you got it, a GPS is always going to be nice, but recognize that if we get nuked or you're trying to dodge the draft for a really long time, you're probably going to want to bring something that doesn't rely on batteries. Just get a good little compass here. It will show you always where north is. I'll teach you how to read a compass when it's more important, when we're out in the wilderness. Also, I want to be able to get a head start on you. Okay, I'm giving you the tools that I have, just a little bit. So I want to make sure that I still have an advantage. If shit goes down tomorrow, I still want to be able to survive longer and better than you. because eventually we'll become enemies fighting for resources, and I think I'm in a pretty good spot to come out on top. So I'll teach you how to read a compass later if we figure out that we're not going to get nuked. And maybe you don't have a map at home, so you could just make your own maps, really. I mean, it's not that hard. So you just, so here's the road. Midwest TRMBS pro tip: if you're looking for a water source, never look for a lake, okay? Lakes are always right there. And you might think, oh, that's really nice for making camp. But a good thing about rivers is that people don't have to come to one place for the water and the vital resources they need to survive. You can position yourself any which way on the river and can still keep yourself away from others that might want to fight for your resources and the things that you brought in your bug out bag. Next, you're going to want to bring a handy dandy tool set. Tools are essential in the wild to survive, to build things like shelter, and maybe take apart some of that bucket that you brought along. But we didn't touch on shelter. Now, some shelter to bring with you is always very convenient and very nice. It's something that you're going to want to do. But again, maybe you're at home and you're thinking, man, I'm not an outdoor badass. I don't have shelter that I can just bring with me. So you might be noticing all the crazy shit I got around here. That's for you fuckers. Make sure that I can keep you alive, I guess. These bags here, if you got like, you can actually fashion these into a suitable shelter. There's also a lot of things you can do out in the wild to make yourself some shelter out there. But if you're just getting started, you're just trying to figure it out, bags are pretty nice in the winter time anyway. If you got a tarp, that would probably be ideal, but I'm thinking if you don't have a tent, you probably don't have a fucking tarp because you just don't know how to survive. But these compress real nice, they pack real easy, and they with enough know-how, you can actually make this into a fine little shelter. Easy peasy. Next, if you got a pair of binoculars, those will do you pretty good in the wild. But what these are really good for is being able to see real far away, okay? Now, binoculars are nice to be able to identify threats, or even if you're hunting wildlife from a distance. So now you don't have to get close and spook the deer, or potentially even spook your next enemy that's trying to take all your stuff. Oh shit, that guy has a good ammo supply. Maybe I should avoid him. Throw them in the bag as well with our shelter here. If you'll notice, on my keys, I always got a little bit of rope with me, and that's for a shorter term solution, right? Not quite bug out bag. It's always nice to have a little bit of rope to be able to fashion things and keep yourself alive. You don't really adventure as much in the bedroom as your buddy TRMBS. So if you gotta make do, I'm sure home improvement and COVID and all that, probably got an extension cord laying around. Now in a pinch, it doesn't make the best because you don't do as good at knots. But if you're really in a pinch, I think an extension cord would be just fine. Maybe you're thinking, oh my goodness, maybe I should bring a grill wit. Just something small and something easy. Something that keeps all my fire contained. And to that, I say, what the fuck are you doing, dumbass? It doesn't really, fit nice and tidy into the bag. This is what we would call a non-essential. This would not go in your bug out bag. Not keep it above ground in a fucking metal container. Like, what the fuck? You're always probably gonna want to pack some heat. Heat's important to keep people away from your shit. Maybe it'll just take one shot. And please see the home defense video. I'll put in the video. It might be important, other than defending your house, to take something with a little bit more firepower. Maybe a rifle, right? If you got a suppressor, because you've managed to avoid the feds this long and found a suppressor, I would highly recommend that. Just keep it nice and quiet, because sometimes when you shoot, that's just a dinner bell for other people. Maybe you're doing a little bit of the aggression. You want to just scare them off of their resources or kill an animal. And I think that's where a rifle would come in handy. If this drags on for a few years, you're going to want to bring something like a bow, something where you can really make your own weaponry, right? Because you can't really craft your own ammunition. It's really hard to find gunpowder out in the wild. Duct tape. I don't really need to say more. Just bring some fucking duct tape. Lastly, but not leastly, you're always going to want to bring something for clothing that matches the environment you are in or plan to be in. If you see me in the wild, you won't see me with this hat, that's for sure. But always make sure that maybe you bring something, if it's going to be a little colder, that can adapt to that. And no, don't overdress, because otherwise you'll sweat and then you'll get real cold faster. Hypothermia and shit. Draw all these tips and tricks and the packing of the bag. Now you can see. Throw that on your back. Take your rifle and you're good to go. And thank you for watching another episode of Midwest TRMBS, outdoors, indoors. Make sure if you learned something or you liked it, like and subscribe for more content. Next week, content. Yeah. So thank you guys, and until next time, don't shoot yourself.